Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels, and today we're going to be discussing something that affects the entirety of the disability community, namely the infantilizing of people with disabilities, especially those with neurological disabilities. We're going to go through a series of tweets that happened earlier this morning. We're going to talk about how it is ableist and how it is dangerous. So let's get started. This all kicked off with Stephanie stating this, saying he, in reference to her son, is disabled does nothing to open hearts and minds. Saying he has special needs does. It's what works for him. This is in regards to a statement that one of us made in regards to we should be called what we wish to be called, and we do not like being lectured as to what labels we should use in regards to ourselves. So, here is my response. I said, special needs is condescending, infantilizing term. Because when people reference special needs, often they're basically thinking of the eternal child. More often than not, it leads to adult disabled people being treated like children because we're special needs. We don't understand these adult conversations. See, you see where I'm going with that. I say if hearts and minds close due to a word, be sure that replacing it with a condescending one does not help. It just excuses ableism and excuses the infantilizing of people with disabilities. So I thought it was just, she didn't know. That's what I thought. Okay, now let's go to the reply for this tweet. She states, did you know that some disabled and special need adults, chronologically, prefer to be treated by their developmental age, which may be way younger? The expectations to act like an adult are not always appropriate when developmentally it's impossible. Really? Really, Karen? Anyways, so I replied, so it's okay to treat an adult like a child just because they have developmental delays. That is the most ableist and dangerous thing I've ever heard. No adult wants to be treated like a child. That is nonsense. Now, folks, it's dangerous for a lot of reasons to think those with developmental and neurological disabilities are the eternal children. That means that it excuses people from teaching us folks very vital, important information that later on we're going to need as adults in order to keep ourselves safe. It assumes incompetence. It assumes that we are never going to be able to do anything for ourselves, which is nonsense. There are people with neurodevelopmental disabilities. I'll give an example, such as Down syndrome, one of the most infantilized disabilities out there, bar none. I have friends with Downs who live fully independent lives and work full-time jobs. So, the doctor can tell me that neurologically she's 13 all she wants, but she's holding a job, she's living independently, she's handling her business. I'm going to treat her like an adult. To treat an adult with a neurodevelopmental disability like a child is the height of disrespect and self-entitled ableism. But let's go forward. It gets worse from here. Stephanie states, "It's not nonsense, it's just nonsense to you. If a child is at the level of a typical 13-year-old emotionally, mentally, physically, that's not possible, Karen. That is not possible. Nobody can stay physically. We all develop, Karen. We all develop. It's called aging. Just saying. And developmentally, it's really cruel to expect them to act like a 27-year-old just because that's their age chronologically. Yeah, this is hateful and insane. Hateful and insane. It is cruel for me to have high expectations that they will be able to live independently and they will be able to have jobs as long as the right accommodations are put into place so that they are able to succeed. Really? Really? Moving on. And of course, I kind of spouted off there at the end. And you get to be the great gatekeeper who gets to decide who gets to be treated like an adult. Just know, obviously, you would rather talk over disabled people than listen to us. So that's a block from me. People, and I'm talking to some neurotypicals out here, you can't just automatically assume that people with developmental delays do not understand anything and need to be treated like children. That shows a complete, it's hugely disrespectful, incredibly demeaning, incredibly condescending. Who are you, Karen? Who the hell are you to tell us what our limitations are, what we are able to achieve? Who are you to determine whether or not we should be treated as adults when we're adults? Are you kidding me? It's just common human decency. Okay? It's common human decency to treat an adult as an adult, regardless of if they have a developmental delay or not. That should not matter. Everything should be geared towards a more independent, full, and fulfilling life for the individual with a disability. Period. Period. And terms like special needs do not help with that because it puts people in mind of someone who's going to be childlike for the rest of their lives. They do not take into consideration that we develop. We develop physically, sexually, all of that. We have the same mile markers as everybody else. Yes, that includes people with Downs. And to automatically treat us as children and not to educate us, especially in regards to sex education, because you don't think we will ever engage because in your mind we will always remain 5 forever, is beyond dangerous. Unfortunately, this makes people with neurological disabilities easy prey for predators. So, us in the disability community, wide and large, are tired of these folks who so casually dismiss not only what we prefer to be referred to as, but casually dismiss our right to autonomy, our right to respect, our right to be treated like actual adults. It's a huge problem because as long as they think like Stephanie, then they will never be willing to open their minds and hearts, to use her words, to listen to people who are like her son, who are adults, people from groups like People First. Okay, folks, this rant's gone on long enough, and I do appreciate your time this afternoon, folks. Now, as always, we don't always get that many views on this channel. Few views we do tend to get removed by YouTube. So if you could, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this afternoon. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.